let me know. Just another food stream? Yay. Kiss my ass, Jim. No, not really. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if there's anything is awkward. All right. So, all right, Jim. I want to see Anthax sent a bunch of peppers. I don't know why they tried to remove your peppers, Anthax. That's to me that's a dick move, but you know, it's all good. Hey everybody, it's Old School Nerd. Today I'm cooking. And I'm glad everyone's here. A couple things. We're actually making two different dishes with two different methods. If you can't hear me or you need me to repeat something, just let me know in the chat. This stream is going to go on quite a while because we're going to start from right here where I have all of my accoutrement that I'm cooking, and we're going to get all the way down to the nitty gritty. Let me show you what I'm doing here in front, then I'll move it back so we can talk again. So let me give you right? Who removes peppers? I think it's because you spam so many. Try dropping like 2 and see if they block them then. Just give me a try and see if they do it. Yeah, so just drop a couple peppers and let me know if they do anything different. Okay, today we are actually going to cook from beginning to end the most common Cajun food dish made, period. Now, some of you are like, is it gumbo? See, no problems. I think it's because you spammed so many that it didn't come through, Anthax. Welcome in, Davo. All right, so here's the thing. There are no bits. There are no subscriptions. There are no gifted subs like we do on Twitch. If you have a specific question that you need me to answer, just do a super chat like everyone else does. I will answer any question you have about this. Try to keep the comments or questions to what we're doing as far as cooking. I'll answer any question. Anything that has to do with me making food, okay? Yes, this is, yeah, anyway. All right, awesome. Hey, Hinka, how you doing? Okay, so we are making the most common Cajun food dish that Cajuns make, period. Now, I posed that question before. Some of you said it was gumbo. Some of you said it was etouffee. Some of you said it was boiled crawfish. Some of you said, there was a lot of answers to that question that I posted on Instagram. The most common dish that's made in Cajun households and that is consumed in Cajun cooking is the, I guess you could say, deglazed, roasted, smothered protein over rice. Now, in Cajun vernacular, honestly, we just call it a rice and gravy. Now, here's the thing. I never said that it was chicken, beef, pork, seafood. Didn't say that. All I said was a rice and gravy. If you come down to Lafayette or into the Cajun area and say, hey, you guys have a rice and gravy, they're going to know exactly what you're talking about. And in Cajun culture, we have Cajun restaurants. And I know a lot of you have seen Cajun restaurants, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those Cajun restaurants, I'm going to peel these potatoes while I'm talking. Just, we have Cajun restaurants, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're serving authentic Cajun food. They're doing the more specialty Cajun recipes, gumbos, fried seafood, etouffees, coubillons, and different specialty dishes. Gumbos, etouffees, coubillons, boiled seafood. Those, we refer to those as pretty much event dishes. We cook them for different celebrations and holidays. Like for tomorrow, for Christmas Eve, I'm making a giant chicken and sausage gumbo. But for a Sunday meal, a family meal, a nightly meal, This is probably the most common recipe that's done here in South Louisiana. Now, if you go in Lafayette or in the Cajun area and you want to find authentic Cajun food, normally you need to go to someone's house or you need to go to a local food spot or a lunch spot. We refer to them as plate lunch places. Sometimes they're family-owned grocery stores, mom and pop grocery stores. Sometimes people cook them out of their kitchens and deliver, where hometown cooking is done. Now, for those who are wondering, I'm peeling these carrots, 3 carrots, and I'm going to chop them up. There's a reason why, it's for a specific reason. So whenever you go to a setup, they'll have the daily special, which is usually a form of some protein cooked in some sort of fashion where it's smothered or it's deglazed down and cooked down, and then it's developed into a rich gravy, and they take rice that is very prevalent here. Our most common starch in Louisiana, in South Louisiana, is not the potato. It's rice. Lots and lots and lots of rice. So they'll put a plate of rice, not a side of rice, like the plate rice covered over the top. Think of it like getting a big plate of spaghetti in an Italian home, and they put a big pile of noodles and they put the sauce with the meatballs on or whatever on top. We do the same thing, but with rice and a stewed, smothered, cooked down protein. Whether it be beef, pork, chicken, seafood, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. The one that we're going to do today is the beef roast, okay? This, I'm doing 2 today. The 2 I'm doing 2. I'm doing 2. I'm doing a full chuck roast, and I'm doing a round sirloin top roast. Both beef. I'm doing both of those beef. I'm going to go through all the mise en place here in a few seconds, so just be patient with me a little bit. In fact, we're going to get started on that right now. So let me get one little thing together that I forgot to do before we started the stream to kind of help us out. So hold on one second. Let me just pick this up. I'm gonna pick this up. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Now, okay, so we are making beef pot roast, okay? We have a chuck roast, which has a lot more fat. This is a sirloin top roast. It's a little bit leaner. We're doing both, okay? And the things you're gonna need for this are as follows. You're gonna need your proteins, fresh, thawed, do not use frozen, okay? You're going to need Holy Trinity. Now, I'm doing 2 pot roasts. So basically, I have 4 cups. I have usually 2 cups per roast, but because I'm doing 2 roasts, I have 4 cups, 4 full cups of Cajun Trinity. This is yellow onion, bell pepper, and celery. Now, the correct portion, now everyone's different, but this is my portion of this. My portions are 1, half, half. For every portion of onion, half portion of celery, half portion of bell pepper. So if you do 1 full onion, if you do 1 cup of onion, it's a half a cup of the other 2. That's the balance that I like, okay? The next thing you're gonna need is beef stock. Beef stock at room temperature, okay? And remember, it's gotta be at room temperature. No, it does not matter. It does not matter which, it doesn't matter which bell pepper you use. Did you know that red, yellow, and green bell pepper all taste the same? They're just different colors. There's not, like if you take a green bell pepper and you let it ripen, it doesn't turn yellow and red. The varieties all taste the same. It's the only pepper that does that. A yellow bell pepper and a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper taste completely the same. So it doesn't matter. I am not using Minotaur Forge's knife. Oh, it's awesome. It's in the knife block. It's too big to cut anything with that I'm doing today. If I was cutting down a goose or a turkey or a large rack of beef ribs or something, I would use Minotaur Forge's knife because it's a monster. But for this, I'm just going to use my standard chopper from Time and Table. Okay, so we talked about having the Holy Trinity. You're going to need olive oil. I use olive oil for two reasons. Number one, I use olive oil because it is a very low burn temperature. So if I'm putting my stuff too hot, it forces me to keep the temperatures lower. We're trying not to sear it, we're trying to brown it. I have a little bit of garlic here, minced garlic, that's to taste. But the other thing you're gonna need is seasoning. It's very important. Now, I don't care which one you use. I'm using the one in the green container with the red top that has some guy's name on it and a little old dude with a white hat. Okay, that's the one that I'm using. There are some that want you to slap your female parental person. There are some that say a bunch of crazy Cajun words. They're all pretty much the same. There's little differences in each one, but basically, these are the ingredients. Salt. There's two different types of chilies. There is a salt, red pepper, black pepper, chili powder, garlic powder, and then some dehydrated garlic. Now, the proportions are all different. So if you want to make your own, you can. But the key is the salt, cayenne pepper, black pepper, chili powder, and then garlic powder. I always get it pre-made so I know that my proportions are going to stay the same. That's me. You're going to need this, and this is super important. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take this stuff and I'm going to season the meat. When you're doing Cajun cooking, if you want to make Cajun hamburgers and you take this kind of stuff and you put it on top of the burger and then grill it, you've already messed up. Put this in the meat. Don't put it on top, put it in the meat. So when the fat renders and the fat starts to boil and cook inside the meat, the fat will break this down and release the flavors in it. So please do that. We got another person. Yeah, again, the slap your female parental unit, you can do whatever you want. I'm trying not to, ain't nobody paying me to use their stuff. So, okay. Yeah, do not use Old Bay. Old Bay has nothing to do with this. That is the quickest way to ruin, okay. The number three things that the two things that Cajuns never put in Cajun food, they don't put tomatoes in gumbo and they don't use Old Bay seasoning for anything really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I season a roast, okay? So to do that, I'm going to literally bring it over here. I'm going to move my camera so you can see, and then I'm going to tell you all about it, okay? So you guys are going to give me just a little bit of a moment, and we're going to season this roast right in front of you. I'm going to move. Just follow along with me, okay? So hang on. All right, everybody. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Yeah. You get to see casa. You know what? Eggs and gumbo is the same thing as okra and gumbo. It's the same thing as anything else. Some people love to do it, but you do not have to. That's like saying I have to use tasso in my gumbo, or I have to use fresh sausage, or I have to use andouille sausage. There are rules that are usually never broken, and then there's rules that are based upon the house. So I have friends of mine, I don't put eggs in my gumbo, personally. But I will be honest with you. If somebody asked me to put eggs in my gumbo for them, I've done it. I've done it. I've had people ask me to put make an okra gumbo. I've done it. Is it how I would do it? No, because that's not my culture. Okra gumbo is Creole. Putting tomatoes in your gumbo, that's a Creole feature. So I don't usually dabble in that because I stay more traditional Cajun. But adding eggs to gumbo is like adding an egg to a gumbo is also Creole. Adding huevos to a soup is very, very Caribbean. It's very Caribbean, very Creole. All right, here we go. Here's our 2 roasts. Let's go with this. Now what I'm gonna do is, there's a couple ways to do this. I'm gonna show you a way that a lot of people do it, and I'm gonna show you a way to deal with one like this. And to do so, I'm gonna need a knife. Now, for this one, it's very marbled, it's very open, it's a chuck roast. There's a lot of movement and gaps here, and that's fine. But for a top roast, that's very solid. So I'm gonna do this one a little bit different. So for this one, we're just gonna sprinkle. We're just gonna sprinkle here, get this in here, and I'm gonna rub it against the grain. Now you see how it's opening up, it's going into the grain there. This is just for me. This is something that my grandfather taught me to do, massaging it into there. And there's a reason why. Because I want some of this stuff inside the meat. Now, my dad, excuse me, I'm talking while I'm using spices, and that's a dumb idea. My dad would do this the night before and let the roast sit overnight. But I don't like to do that too much because of the salt content. The salt will pull so much moisture out of this that it changes the texture for me, so I don't really care for that too much. I'm also going to do the sides. Never forget the sides, everybody. Don't forget the sides. Okay. Okay. So this is seasoned. You know it's seasoned because it's, look, red, orange. That's how you know there's a good difference between the two. So Thomas is in Lake Charles, so technically he knows what I'm talking about. So everybody, I can tell you now that Thomas probably knows what I'm going to be doing the whole way through. He also knows, he also has different ways of doing it. Okay. Now, because Thomas is an hour west of me, he's, okay, ooh, this is important. On the top of my top roast, you see the lines, the gradient of the meat. I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to go perpendicular to that. And I'm just going to stab against the grain little divots. Now, I'm only doing this because this thing is so thick, okay? I'm just going to go against the grain and put little slices in the meat. I would only do this on this type of roast. This one, don't need to do it. But on a top round, where it's tight, bound, and extremely thick, I'm putting little stabs. Do you have to do that? You do not. Do I do it? Obviously. So, same process goes. This time, I'm rubbing between, and as I'm doing it, I'm making sure that some of this stuff gets in these gaps. Now, what's interesting is I've seen people cut it this way and make an X. Take their finger, make a hole, and shove bell pepper and garlic and spices in the holes. There's nothing wrong with that. The Cajuns that do that, they got that kind of time, but I'm live on YouTube and I ain't got the time to do all that all day long. That's another way that people like to stuff a roast. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Hey! Okay. Now, excuse me. Now they're seasoned now, so the next part of the process is probably the most important part. And I want to sit down and go over a couple things. Let me wash my hand. All right. Everybody's still talking, right? Awesome. Here we go. I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move this back around so we can have a little conversation. Okay. We're gonna have the meat talk. Okay, awesome. And I can see what you guys are typing, and that's important. Jim and Davo are here. Remember, guys, super chats are open. If you want me to not miss a question, I can use that as well. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so now we have seasoned our roasts with Creole seasoning. Okay. The next part of this is the most important part, and that is the browning of the roast. Now, there are a dozen different ways to do this. I've seen people take this, throw it in a pot, put it in the oven at 350 for an hour. I've seen people throw this into a slow cooker, a Dutch oven, whatever. And then I've seen them, after they've done that, work the roast all the way down and then turn it into something Cajun on the back end. Now, I am not here to mock or belittle anyone's family traditions, but that just seems like very counterintuitive. My nose is not running because I have a cold. It's because I put Cajun seasoning on these while breathing it in and talking like an idiot. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do what's referred to as a stove top on the stove in a pot, a brown and deglaze rice and gravy. It is the most personal. It is the most laborsome. It takes the longest, where you actually have to pay attention. But it's the one that will teach you the most Cajun skills. It's the one that will allow you to learn something that Cajuns do on a regular basis that makes our food so different from everyone else. But it is also the one that anybody can do anywhere in the world. Because all the ingredients I'm going to show you, all of you have. All of you have beef. Now, in this, you can do it with pork. You can do it with chicken, thighs, and legs. Don't try to do this with chicken breast. You can do this with meatballs. Yeah, so this method I'm about to show you is pretty well done across the board. This is what you're gonna need. You need your protein. The protein needs to be seasoned. Check. You need your Cajun Trinity. Onions, bell pepper, celery. And you need to have enough. I do 2 cups of Cajun Trinity, Holy Trinity, to every large beef roast. You can add more, you can add less, but the more you add, the richer and deeper that flavor will be. Trust me on that. You need this. You need something to deglaze with. You have to have something that you use to deglaze the pan. If you don't know what deglazing is, okay, I'm about to tell you. In Cajun cooking and in French Cajun cooking, and well, technically, almost every culture in the world uses some form of deglazing in their food. For the French and for the Cajuns, it is vital across the board. But for everyone else, maybe not so much. The idea of deglazing is, I'm going to take this pot. This is a Magnolite roaster. It is big. It is a big boy. I can put both these roasts in here without a problem. I can also put a goose in this, no problem. Couple chickens. It's a roaster. Now, this is a Magnolite. They are very expensive. They are made out of a cast aluminum magnesium alloy, which means they are very light, but they are extremely durable. And magnesium aluminum dissipates heat across the surface. It doesn't allow it to bleed through into one point. It spreads it across, which does two things. Number one, it keeps you from burning something in a singular point, especially if you're using direct fire heat. But then it also allows you to deglaze across the board. So, do you have to have this? You do not. You can use a non-stick, thick-bottomed saute pan in a pinch. Black iron works well. Ceramic-coated Dutch ovens, black iron Dutch ovens, the ceramic ones, they work great too. Anything that has a depth to it, you can use. Your pans, your pots, your kitchen, you know your own equipment. I'm going to use this because this thing is a 1/2 inch on the bottom, 3/4 inch thick on the bottom, and it's a monster. I'm going to get the bottom of this super hot, and I'm going to put olive oil in the bottom, okay? And just before smoking, I'm going to drop these roasts in here. They're going to immediately start to brown. As they brown, stuff is going to stick to the bottom. The different juices, the oil, and it's going to make that searing action. Now, a lot of you would flip it over. Fine, that's fine. But a lot of people will do that, and then they'll take a piece of protein out of the pan, put it to the side, and then go wash this. Don't do that. What I want you to do is I want you to take what sticks to the bottom and reuse it. Bringing it back and then letting it do again. The process is called deglazing. So these roasts are going to sit on the bottom of this pan with the heat. They're going to cook against it. They're going to brown. Stuff is going to stick to this metal. I'm going to take a room temperature, not boiling, not simmering, not refrigerated, and definitely not cold. Room temperature liquid. And I'm going to put that liquid on this metal. That metal at a high temperature with the items that are stuck to it due to the cooking process, that room temperature liquid is going to hit that hot surface and a reaction is going to occur. This cool liquid is going to steam and boil almost immediately. And when it does so, it's going to release the things off the pan. They're going to pop right off and develop with whatever I put in here. Think about what I'm doing. I'm taking beef gristle and beef trappings that are stuck to the pan. I'm adding beef broth to that. So by pulling this off, I'm infusing beef flavor with the beef stock, and I'm adding liquid, and then I'm going to repeat. I'm going to let the moisture cook out of this all the way down to where the beef stock and the beef gristle that I pulled off has now stuck again to the bottom. Did I learn my lesson? No. And that's a good thing. Now I'm going to do it again. And again. and again. And I'm going to repeat the process as many times as it takes for me to develop an extremely dark, extremely rich sauce on the bottom of the pot with the roast sitting in it. I'll flip the roast over, do it to both sides, and I'll continue to do this as many times as I need to. I'm going to develop the entire bottom of the pan to where it's almost like a dark beef syrup on the bottom. Then when I have browned this roast as many different ways as I can, deglazed it 5, 6, 8, 12 times, whatever it takes. Then I'm going to take the roast out. And I'm going to let all that bottom cook down and start sticking again. Then we're going to really going to screw it up. This is the part that drives French chefs crazy, that Anthony Bourdain absolutely loved and referred to it as the greatest incorrect cooking method in the history of the world. We're going to take everything that's stuck to the bottom. We're going to take the roast out. And I'm going to take the, hey babe, come on in. Caroline needs to walk by. So everyone say, hi, Caroline. Hi, Caroline. Okay. Yeah, my kids are here. This is my house. So we're going to take the Holy Trinity. And we're going to put the Holy Trinity in here. What is inside onions, bell peppers, and celery? Moisture, water. It's going to hit the bottom of the pan, and it's going to deglaze it with the vegetable, the Holy Trinity. That's going to lift it off again, and it's also going to saute these down. We're going to stir and saute these vegetables, the Holy Trinity, the onions, bell pepper, and celery, and maybe even add a little bit more in there to kind of deglaze those as well, till they are translucent and almost as dark as meat, almost as dark as the meat. We're going to get those cooked down too. Once we're done with that, we'll add a little bit more stock to it, add our roast back, put a lid on it, and let it cook. Now, that's the regular process that I use. But what if I told you there are different ways? Now, we're going to talk about those of you who come from other parts of the world and you have your own way of doing a beef, pork, or chicken roast. Can you use the Cajun methods but still wind up with a Cajun version of your favorite meal? Yes. Potatoes and carrots. The common additive of a lot of beef roasts everywhere but where I live. Once you put the roast back into the pot, after we've done all the deglazing and we've done the Holy Trinity, we've cooked everything down, and now we're ready to put a lid on it. Don't put a lid on it. Chop up some potatoes, chop up some carrots, throw them in with the Holy Trinity, saute those a little bit, add your stock, bring your liquid up about halfway, put your roast back in, and let it all cook together with the traditional beef roast vegetables of carrots and potatoes. What if you don't want to use rice? What if you don't want to put it over rice? What can I do that's different? Here we go. I'm deglazing with chicken stock. With beef stock, because I'm going to put it over rice. My recipe that I'm doing today, all the steps are because I'm going to put it over rice. What if you don't do rice? What if you do mashed potatoes? What if you're one of those people that lives north of I-10? That's a joke for Thomas, by the way. You're not a Cajun. You live north. You don't have rice. You don't want to do rice. You don't even like rice. But you love mashed potatoes. I have an idea for you. Do the carrots. Do the mise en place, the Cajun Trinity. All the steps I did. But instead of putting it over rice, don't take these. Make you some nice mashed potatoes. put your potatoes on the plate, put your well, drop your gravy in the well. It still works. Just not putting it over rice. What if you don't want to put it over anything? What if you want to add a bunch of these and a bunch of this and just make it a regular stock roast and your potatoes and carrots and vegetables come out of the pot with the meat? Okay, go for it. You can't really mess this up. This is where it becomes yours. I'm also going to give you 2 variations before I even start cooking right now for 2 different cultures, specifically 2 people that I absolutely adore, and I want them to hear this. We deglaze with the beef stock, correct? My uncle, growing up, he had a bowl half this size of beef stock, and next to it, a bottle of red wine. He would deglaze the beef with the stock the first 4 times. Then he deglazed it with red wine. Then once he removed his roast and he wanted to do his Holy Trinity, like we talked about, he would only use the red wine to deglaze his vegetables. Then he would put it back together. It's funny because you say, okay, Justin Wilson. Justin Wilson was from Mississippi. He wasn't a Cajun. Sorry. Guy was from Mississippi. So if you want to use red wine, you can. That's an OG move. My uncle, my great uncle, they all did it like that because there were a bunch of boozy people. And there's fine with that. And he would use the red wine, and then he would put all of his stuff back together. He would drop potatoes and carrots and just do the red wine, and he wouldn't put it over rice. He would just serve the roast with chopped up potatoes and carrots. It was deglazed in the red wine, and it was amazing. I have another one from my buddy. From my buddy Brock in Wisconsin. And from my buddy Minotaur Forge over in Oregon. I have a thought just for you guys. Instead of using wine, okay, don't put it over rice. Get your potato mash on the side. And instead of using red wine, use beef stock, half, and the other half a deep, dark stout. A deep German beer. Use the German beer to deglaze your roast, deglaze your Holy Trinity, and deglaze your potatoes and carrots when you put them all together. Use the stout and cook it all down. The difference is, if you cook it with a German stout, a beer, you're making it really Germanic. You're really making it European at that point. Don't put that over rice. A stout gravy, the German dark beer gravy, doesn't taste good with rice. And there's a reason why. When rice is old, Thomas will tell you this, if you make a pot of rice and it's old, it sits out too long, it starts to slime on the bottom. And you know what it smells like? It smells like it's starting to ferment. If you put stout deglazed liquid over rice, it tastes and smells like the rice is turning. So don't do it with rice. A good mash, or just cook it all down and just take the vegetables out. Those are 3 variations that really, really, really work. So yes, Guinness works as well. So if you want to make a Cajun, Germanic, or Irish style beef roast, all the steps that we talked about, the Cajun seasoning, the Holy Trinity, the deglazing, but do it with Guinness or a dark stout, a Germanic stout. Make sure you do carrots, make sure you do potatoes. Very, very, very important. Okay? So, let's get started with some cooking because I'm tired of looking at it. Are you ready? We've talked for 40 minutes. Let's get to work. I'm gonna move the party over to the stove. You guys are gonna come with me. You ready? Stay here, I gotta move some stuff, okay? Just hang on, just come right there. How y'all doing? You know what? We used to have restaurants here called Steak and Ales, where they used to do that as well, in that classic UK style. So yeah, it's not just you; it's everybody really. All right, woo! Here we go. All right. Yep, yep, yep. Let's get started. Lid, metal, this, 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 right here. Now, I'm going to do one roast at a time. One roast at a time. That's me. Because I want to do one at a time because it's easier that way. To the side. Once I move my roast into here, I'm going to put my beef stock here so I can deglaze pretty quickly. I want to make sure you see the deglazing process. Okay, also, once you've gotten all this process together and everything is cooked, we're going to lid it and we're going to reduce the heat and let it slow cook for mini, whatever. The longer it sits, the better it'll be. A lot of people, once they get past the steps we're about to do, will transfer all of it to a slow cooker and let it cook whatever. That's a smart idea. There's nothing wrong with that idea because slow cookers, they're designed for that. Let's listen for it. Now, as we're letting that do, I do want to talk about something. The whole idea of deglazing, you can watch it all you want, and you can look at it too. But the real trigger to tell you if it's time to deglaze is by hearing it. There's two completely different sounds between this, the sizzle, and the sound of the deglaze boiling. When you put that beef stock over there in this pot to deglaze, it's going to make a different sound. It's going to sound like water splashing and cauldron bubbling almost immediate. And as that fluid sits on the bottom and deglazes, you're going to continue to hear that sound constantly. When the sound changes from a deep bubble gurgling sound to that sizzle sound, it's time to get ready to deglaze again. Because that sizzle means we're taking everything we've already deglazed and it's beginning to stick again. I've seen more people ruin roasts because they burn it because they're not paying attention during the deglazing process. For most people, I got to be honest with you, the best way to not mess this up is to do this. Sit your ass down, read a book, watch YouTube videos, watch some really cool reactions to music with some bearded dude from South Louisiana. But whatever you do, don't leave. If you leave, you can really mess it up. I'm letting this cook a bit. I'm going to get me a Very important. It already smells very steak-like already. It's beginning to sear very quickly, so that's always a good sign. What time do you need to be at work? I need to be at work by 10. When do you get off? I get off at 3. What you said? It says 5. I changed it. It was 3 o'clock. Are you getting off at 3 or are you getting close? Well, I was getting close. No problem. Megan and Tyler will be there at 5. So we'll all be around the same time. No, I'm making rice and baby food. Mama's gonna take you to work. Just make sure you're talking to her. All right. I'm smelling a lot of good stuff here. So let's take a look. You know what? There we go. Now I'm just showing this to you. I'm putting it back over. I want to continue to sear this. Time for the first deglaze. Lots of steam, lots of heat. This is what we're looking for. And more than likely, I'm letting you know right now, my alarm in my house is probably going to go off. Yep. Every time I do something right, my fire alarm goes off because I'm cooking too hard. It's not my fault, it's their fault. Already you can see a difference. You're seeing this deglaze. Look, watch. That reaction is the deglaze reaction. It's coming off the bottom and it's creating something that's brown. This is the deglazing action right here. There you go. I'm going to continue to do this over and over and over again. Okay, so here we are. I'm back. We should still be live, right? Are we live? Yeah, we're still live. Okay. Yeah, I got a phone call, so. Dude, you are not smelling it in Covington. I mean, you might, but yeah. I'm going to repeat this as many times as I need to. And it's going to be quite a few. Now, when we get to the point where we completely deglaze this roast and I start to saute the vegetables and deglaze the vegetables, we should have a very deep, dark colored gravy. Because I'm doing 2 roasts, I'm going to be using this pot twice. I'm going to be moving the roast over to the slow cooker, which I'm going to go get right now. I'll move the first roast into the slow cooker so it'll keep cooking, and then I'll repeat this entire process from searing, deglazing, and the whole thing twice. So that thing will be full of beef and vegetables and everything else. Come on, Ghost. Ghost, come on. Ghost. Ghost, come on. Thank you.
It's freezing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is my Magnolite. This is my roaster. I also have a gumbo pot. You guys have seen the gumbo pot. I also have done it. I've done this in one like this, a non-stick. I've done it in one like this as well, so you don't have to have all that extra. Yep. Yeah, so I'm literally sitting here, and I'm going to repeat this deglaze process numerous times. So while that's going on, I'm going to move back over to the table, but we'll come back to here as many times as we need to. I need to finish peeling my potatoes and cutting up my potatoes and things like that. So yeah, now it's just a matter of time. Okay, so now is the time where we actually sit down. If you guys have questions about what type of anything you need to get, what are the best ways to deal with different problems, now's the time to ask. I'm a huge fan of a fried catfish po' boy, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty important classic to me. Always has been. Oh, let me show you. There we go. It's beginning to do its thing. Yep. Good times. Good times. I want to see if you can hear it. It's going to change. Yeah, I'm using a chuck roast for this one. I also have a sirloin top roast over there. I'm going to do both. And I've seasoned them both differently. It's going to, the low sizzle, it's going to change to a high sizzle. The rub, honestly, the best thing to use is a pre-made Creole seasoning. There's so many different ones. There's the one with the guy's name with the green label and the red top. It's the one I'm using today. There's the one with the yellow container with the white top. Talks about, violently attacking one's female parental unit. There's all different types. Here we go. Here we go. Important part here, watch. It's changing the sound. The sound is changing from that low to the high. There's the reaction right there. That's what we want, right there. That's the separation action. A lot of steam. My bad. That's the reaction we're looking for. That separation. The tone drops to a bubble sound versus a sizzle sound. And that's it. That's literally the entire process. So yeah. My stepdad was a commercial shrimper for probably the first 18 years of my life. And then he went and got his Coast Guard any tonnage twin screw license and started driving large supply ships. It was more consistent. You could do it year round. Yeah, so for you can use any Creole seasoning or any Cajun seasoning. But remember that the different Creole seasonings have different salt levels. They also have different spice levels. And depending upon the one you get, use it sparingly until you learn where that sweet spot is for you. It's very important to find the right spot. Oh, I can hear it changing again. Move it around. Hold on. All right. I can hear it changing. We're going from the low sound to the high sound. I'm gonna flip this bad boy over. When you see this is gonna get darker and darker and darker. That's the whole point. And it doesn't matter how crusty it gets on the outside. As long as you don't burn it, you're fine. You can cook this down as many times as you need to, because at the end of the day, when we smother it, when we slowly cook it with all the vegetables and everything, anything that you think you've over-seared, it's going to develop a flavor that's all going to fall apart. Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm going to let the moisture get out faster. Just the way I'm doing it. Yeah, okay, so this is overkill. I'm not making a turtle soup, but I have made it. Turtle soup is hard to make because it's hard to get turtle. I do like pistolets. I don't like frying food like that too much. If you're not using Tony's anymore, it's 100% understandable. There are a few. You do realize that Tony's does make a low salt version. In fact, I use that one a lot. I also use, there's one that's called, let me find it. I think I have it in here. I have this one that a friend of mine makes here locally. It has almost no salt in it. And I'll use it when I have stuff that's going to be overly salty. I'll use this one, has no salt in it. But you can make your own Creole and Cajun seasonings yourself. But if you do it, part of the problem is you have to buy all the different ingredients. The salt, the cayenne, the black pepper, the chili powder, the garlic powder, the onion powder. You have to get all those things. Then you have to combine them in the right amounts. And then here's the problem. Once you combine all those things, you now have a shelf life. And all the companies put additives in there to keep them from clumping together through moisture. So sometimes you just got to find the right one for you. I like to use the ones that are made because I know they're going to have a longer shelf life. And if I need less salt, I can get the ones that have less salt. Oh, yeah. I do my own rubs for smoke. However, when I smoke meats, if I'm smoking pork, let me show you what I do. Deglaze. I heard the sound change and knew I had to deglaze, so. Aha. When I'm gonna smoke pork, I'll use this one, a honey hog rub from Meat Church. Meat Church has a lot of really good ones out of Texas. They're really good. And whenever I'm doing brisket or I'm doing beef rib or smoking any sort of beef, I'll use this one from Killer Hogs from the brisket rub. It's literally coarse salt and coarse black pepper. It's just basic Texas black pepper and salt rubs. It's just, I do like making my own rubs, but dang it, it takes time. Getting that deglaze action going here. Now, my grandfather was the master of the rub. You use the roast itself to rub the bottom, and when you rub it, you're getting all the gristle off the bottom by using it like a rag. I mean, why scrape it off when you can just use your roast to rub it off? Look how clean the bottom is, watch. It's very clean on the bottom now. All right, put this back over. Let's get back to work. Nice, nice. They're really, really, really good. Okay, everybody, say hello to my wife. She's here. A roast mop. You know what? I got to be honest with you. The first time that I saw somebody take the roast, the actual roast they're making a rice and gravy with, and they had some gristle that was really sticking, and the deglazing wasn't pulling it off immediately, and it was possibly going to burn to the bottom. To see my grandfather take a fork, stick it in that roast, and scrub it like he was using the roast like a Brillo pad, I thought, that is so damn genius, but at the same time, it's effective, and it just works. It helps. Look, all my favorite people are here for the live stream. You know, this actually has worked out really well. I don't know if you guys can hear me well, if I'm being too loud, not loud enough, if you guys can hear the deglazing process go on. I don't know if you guys are hearing it the way it should. Kiddo? Okay, I want to get a close-up of how this fluid is escaping. You can see it escaping and changing right here. See where it's getting really tight? Wow. Steam is everywhere. See how it's starting to sizzle down there and darken, but it's still up over here? So when I pick this up, watch. So see how this is sticking to the bottom? This right here. That's the process. That's the reaction we're looking for. And if I need to, I can just do this. I can take this and use this like a Brillo pad. Watch. Watch this. I'm going to change hands. Whew. Okay. Look. Pot's clean. Pot's clean. So I'm using the pot to using the roast to deglaze itself. So uh-oh. Yes, I am making sweet peas for you. The sides for this today are going to be sweet peas with butter and a little Italian herb, Italian salad with Italian dressing and over rice. And for the gumbo on Tuesday for Christmas Eve, the Christmas Eve gumbo is going to be chicken thighs, sausage, tasso, traditional. My favorite part is we're doing it twice. When I'm done with this roast, I got to do the other one. So.
Who's all in the stream?
Huh?
Who's all in the stream?
Right now, I'm looking at Daniel Fourier, Jim Overkill, Davo's here. I saw Marina's here. Anthax was here earlier. Tobias is here. Thomas is here. I don't think it's going to give me a list, but yeah.
You see the people that are there.
You know what my favorite part is? There's somebody from Lake Charles here. Thomas is from Lake Charles, Jennings, somewhere around there. Overkill's from Covington. I think they're coming to check on me. I gotta be honest with you. I believe that Overkill got his name for some North Shore shit that he did. He did some North Shore shit, and that's how he got his name. Now, if Thomas is from Covington, like he says he is, he's laughing right now because he knows exactly what I'm saying. Nobody can see you. You're fine. Yeah, so that's another good thing you can do, Jim. Do the stout or the wine version deglaze. Add your potatoes, add your carrots, and then just serve it out and get a nice big piece of brioche or a nice good deep French bread and just dip. Oh no, you're not in that dude on Lake Shore. He's on the other side. How close are you to the racetrack? He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, you're not in Sulphur, are you? Or are you west of Sulphur? Thomas lives wherever the traffic for the interstate backs up when there's an accident at the state line for Texas. That's where Thomas lives. Doing another deglaze. Steamy. So you live in Westlake. Caroline. Thomas goes, I live in between Lake Charles and Sulphur.
Okay.
Dude, just say Westlake.
Yeah.
Just say Westlake. As long as you don't say Hackberry, then you're okay. Dude.
No, it's that Hackberry between Lake Charles and Sulphur. It's below over there.
Right? It's
Way below.
No, yeah, I know Hackberry's far down, but yeah.
Westlake's right.
Yeah, well. I'm doing the roast mop. Okay. Was it good? All right, now we're getting to a point where we need to show you a few things. Are you ready? Okay. Now, you see that right there? That dark, rich, trying to get the steam. Damn it, steam, get out of the way. Right here. That's when you're starting to get close to being done with your browning. When you got that sear completely capsulating on one side. You got a nice dark situation going on here. I'm going to get it to both sides here. And then once we're done with that, we're close to being done with the browning stage. Now, could I go longer? Yes. Could I continue to keep deglazing this till it is all just big syrup bowl? Yes. Is it delicious? Absolutely. However, I still have another trick. Once I get the meat browned, everything that's sitting in the bottom of the pot is now going to be done with the Holy Trinity, and we're going to deglaze that too. Then we're going to add it all to our slow cooker, get that going, and then do it again with the other roast. Because extra people. Now, here's the thing. Why am I doing 2 roasts? Because Chelsea's mom and dad are coming, so I'm doing something kind of special. I'm going to, ready? I'm going to make the rice and gravy, 2 roasts, and one of the roasts I'm going to send home with them because they're going to go to Palmetto, which is south of here. It's a RV park. It's a state park the day everyone goes to camping. They're going to go visit Chelsea's family for Christmas time in RV camp, and I'm sending them a roast with them so they can make cold roast beef sandwiches the next couple of days. If you've ever had a cold roast beef sandwich using Cajun roast beef, it is your dad's jam. All right, let's start getting ready here. We're going to start getting to the point where we might remove the roast and start sauteing our vegetables. Okay, here we go. All right. Move this right here. I'm going to pop this bad boy down like this. One last time. Let's do this one last time right here. What is that? Take this out of the way. Move this right here. Get it. Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Turn this bad boy over. Do a little moppy mop. Okay. This in here. Okay, key point. We've moved the roast out, but we left everything behind. And we're letting all that stick. I want all that to stick. I want it to stick so bad that you're going to think I'm going to ruin it. But I have an idea. An idea. This is the part where it gets fun. Now we're coming to the part where the Holy Trinity comes to play the game, and the Holy Trinity is called the Holy Trinity because it has supernatural powers to not only deglaze but turn this into something completely different. I may use a little bit of the beef stock to deglaze the Holy Trinity, maybe once, maybe twice, but the idea is I'm going to use the Holy Trinity and this to clean this pot out and put it in here with this. So I have a clean pot to repeat the process. We're getting close. Let's go ahead and see how it's starting to do this little burn. So I'm going to add this. Okay. About half. Okay. Just a little bit of time. Here we go. I want you to hear it. Starting to bubble up. I'm going to start moving it. Now, as you notice, there's a lot of moisture in these onions and bell peppers. And as you can see, it's starting to take all of the glazing off the bottom. Old School Nerd, how will I know when those are done? You see the onions? You want to know why you see the onions? Is because right now they're white. When I'm done, they will not be. Yes, Jim, you are completely correct. This is the Cajun French way of making a sofrito. But we're using the gristle and the browning of a protein to start, and then we do the sofrito. Now, you've seen me do other recipes where I will saute the Holy Trinity with pepper and oil and just cook them down and then add them to something else, like a meatball. Yes, that is also completely and totally allowed, and it's a wonderful technique. But why not use what we've created on the bottom of this as the basis for this? It's just, it's an opportunity we don't want to miss.
What does green mean?
Green beans, yes.
You got using bottled water?
It's really good.
I did not know we put it in the fridge.
I put tea in the
Uh-oh, here we go. It's all starting to stick. He's doing good stuff. No, the beef does not matter because the situation where you take grass beef or grain beef, that flavor is usually seen when you sear a steak, but you leave the inside a medium to a medium rare because the grains of the meat are based upon the texture content of a rare, medium rare. This meat is going to be beyond well done. It's going to be cooked down to where the type of beef is not going to matter because we're cooking it down way past well done. We're cooking it to falling it the hell apart. That's the scientific term, by the way. Falling it the hell apart. There we go. There we go. Yep, time again. Let's go ahead and do a quick pull through. All right. See that? Deglazing the Holy Trinity. Well, another reason why we can't play any music is because we're on YouTube. This isn't Twitch. So if we put live music on YouTube, we're going to get a copyright and they'll cancel the stream. True story. True story. One more time. Here we go. Very few of the onions are still white. Most of them have cooked down quite a bit, as you can see. I think we're going to let the rest of those cook down real quick. Okay, remember when we talked about, do you remember when we talked about the garlic? Now, why am I adding the garlic at the end of this process? Anyone can tell me why I'm adding the garlic at the very end? Please let me know. If anyone can answer that question, you should learn to cook this kind of stuff all the time because that means you have really good instincts. There you go. Anthax gets it. Okay, Jim, you are correct. Anthax is actually the most accurate for that question. The onions, the bell pepper, the celery, and the meat, we want to almost bring it to a burn over and over and over again. Garlic burns so fast that it won't survive any of these processes as it is. So I'm adding it to the last of the breakdowns. That way there's no chance of me burning it. Because garlic is just, it's so pungent, it's so flavorful, it smells so amazing, especially when it's roasted, but it burns way too quickly. Wow! Arius Nation, thank you so much, dude. For some extra spice. Yeah, I don't know if I would say that adding garlic at this, yeah, I'm adding garlic for the flavor. But the reason why I'm adding it at the very end is because it will burn so easily. All right. Now it's time to take this and put it in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in a couple steps. I'm going to move it over. Watch this. Let's do this again, shall we? I told you I'm doing this twice. It is. Yes. So I literally cleaned the pot by using the beef stock to make sure everything came out. It's all over in the slow cooker. I need a clean pot with fresh oil because remember, what are we doing today? We're doing two. Dude, Jim, you're the freaking king, dude. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do like using a microplane, but I do love using just a straight minced garlic. It's just easy for me. If I use a microplane and a bunch of other things, if I was making a textured dish where it was finely done and I needed to be precise with it, 100%. Totally agree with you, JB. But because I'm making a roast that we're going to cook down, that garlic is going to turn into just disintegrated mess by the time I'm slow cook this. Oh, here we go. Now, you want to see how petty. Now, you want to see when I tell you I waste nothing, let me show you what I mean by that. Here's all the leftover seasoning and drippings from my roasts sitting on the bottom of this pan. Am I going to let that go to waste? No. Watch this. Why would I let all that go to waste? Waste not, want not. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate both of you. Both Arius and Jim, thank you so much for those super chats. Makes all of this worth it. Granted, it was worth it before, but anyway. Okay, so we have the new roast in. We have this Holy Trinity to go. Our stock. Let's repeat the process, but with a different type of meat. This is a top sirloin roast. It's thicker. It's beefier. It's a big ass monster. But we're gonna cook all sides of that bad boy. That's cool, Hinka. That's awesome. Never thought about doing that. That's a good idea though, to use a nice oil and then just blend it and make your own paste. That's pretty outstanding. Yeah, I kind of stepped away and cut some stuff up. So. There we go. It's probably going to set off my alarm again. Yeah, I have a really nice alarm system here, but my alarm system has a tendency to go off every time I cook. There it is. I mean, it's nice that it's really cool that my fire alarm works really well, and to know that if there's ever smoke or steam released in my house in the middle of the night, that it will wake us up to protect us. But the fact that it does it every time I cook, it is annoying. It is completely annoying. So. Yeah, the problem is that my alarm is very loud. We're repeating our deglazing process, except the difference is on this roast, because it's so big. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Because this roast is so large and has multiple flat ends, I can rotate this bad boy. Here we go, doing the roast mop. I can rotate this and sear multiple sides. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing here. I've done this side, the bottom here. I'm gonna do this side as well, and maybe the tip. I'm not sure, but yeah. And then we just, yep, meat mop. Here we go, just scrubbing the bottom, getting all that browning up. I'm gonna now turn it up for us. You can see. And there it is right there. The meat mop. I call it the meat mop. Now we still have our garlic, the remaining of our garlic, our other half of our Holy Trinity. But this time I have potatoes and carrots as well. I'm adding those to this roast because it's kind of her dad's favorite, so good times, good times. Now, the original roast that we did is now in the slow cooker, okay? I placed the roast in the bottom, onions, the Holy Trinity's here. It is, as you can see, just where it's to the top of the roast. I'm gonna take that, put that off to the side, plug in the slow cooker, and start that slow cooking process. In about 3 hours, that meat you'll be able to take with a spoon and just fall apart spoon. It's kind of what we're looking for. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, that one's done. That roast is done. So now we can focus on our new one. Here's the just side down. So I'm now going to take this up, work this around, work this around. We have no drones here at all. And if we ever do have a drone problem, I can promise you it won't be a problem very long. A lot of the drone stuff, okay, if you see it close up and it's a drone and it's circular and it's got the flashing lights and it's obviously a hovering drone, fine. But the problem is the more videos I see of airplanes lining up in a line to land, and these people are on the back end of an airport, those dots in the air that move together in a line. And why are all the drone and all the sightings of all these lights in sky in New Jersey? This is a very good reason why. New Jersey and southern central Pennsylvania and West Virginia are the most concentrated areas of more commercial flights than anywhere in the United States, period. There are 7 major airports all along the coast, and they post all of their standby traffic in the same area over New Jersey. So, are there drones? Yes. Are there as many as everyone's saying? No. It's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm about to break the rule. On the chuck roast, there were two giant flat sides, and the roast was about this thick. So you roast one side, you roast the other side, you're done. This one, this giant sirloin cap, has four sides. Side, 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 that we're all browning. Here's the thing. The chuck roast was thin. This thing is so thick, I guarantee you the inside is not cooked. And granted, it originally cooked, but to me, if I cut that roast down in the pot, I'll have more surfaces that I could deglaze and sear. Don't know what I'm talking about? You can only do this with a large sirloin top roast. On a cut roast that's flat, you can't do this with it. But this one, watch this. I'm about to do something that's going to change the game for a lot of people. Yeah, stay on topic, damn it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll deglaze that one more time for that. So we can sear this, we can sear this, we can sear this, and we can sear this. Watch. Now, I can sear this. I can sear this and this. I can sear both sides. And I can sear this one. So now what I've done is by slicing this down, yeah, by the way, very sharp knife. You literally watched me cut down an entire beef block roast the size of my head with that knife like it was no problem. It's a very sharp knife. Be very careful. What I've done though is by doing that, I've literally given myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 surfaces that I can now brown and deglaze in addition to the ones I've already done. It's like supercharging your roast. It's like adding double the flavor you would normally get out of just searing the outside. Such a rebel. Such a, man, what a dick. But it's a good idea, isn't it? So yeah. Yeah, so by doing that, now I have multiple spots that I can deglaze across a meat that normally I'd only have 4 surfaces. Now I have 8. It's a lot. I'm such a rule breaker. But let's be honest, we're an hour and 4 minutes into this stream, and how many cool things have I showed you guys? Actually, no, we're an hour and a half. 104 minutes, actually. Very naughty. Bad old school. Maybe. Actually, it's good old school because that's going to work out great. Watch. See? Oh. Now this side, right there. Do 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 do. Now, I'm adding carrots and potatoes to this one. And these potatoes and the carrots, more the potatoes and the carrots, are going to absorb salt. And they're going to absorb some of the seasoning. So how do I keep these from taking away the flavor of what I've prepared before? It's a very, very simple way to adjust for this. We're good. If you're not willing to meat mop all 3 pieces of meat, then don't cut them into 3. You have to be willing to meat mop them all. Now, if you're in a small pot, you won't be using roast this big anyway. You'll use a smaller roast. Even take a top sirloin like that one and cut it in half and only do 1/2. But because that pot is so big, I can still meat mop. There's still plenty of room. I'll show you. Thank you, Thomas. Merry Christmas, buddy. Happy holidays to you. I mean, you're worried about room. I still have all of this, all of this. I can move these around quite a bit still. So I can still meat mop all I need to. See? I can meat mop. I can meat mop. I'm also rotating the meat because in a pot this size, with a burner of whatever size it is, there's going to be a hot spot and a not as, okay, you can't call it, there's really no cool spots, but there's a hot spot for sure. So you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the hot spot. And the hot spot will do that. Yeah, so I have all this extra room. I can move these around. I mean, if you don't have a pot this size, no, you can't just meat mop this stuff very easily. But I do have a pot this size, so I can do that. There's that deglaze action right there, that bubble up you want. You know what? See? One more surface I can do. See? One more surface down. And now I've kind of bundled them all together, and I can deglaze right in the center and just let it permeate every time. It's going well. You could eat this now, but don't. It needs to finish cooking. This is another good one to use, a ceramic coated cast iron. I've used my ceramic coated cast iron many times to make rice and gravies. That's a classic good one as well. The smell is a lot. Yeah, you know what? Overkill, you know, it's a really good idea. Have you ever made taco soup with taco seasoning? So you get 2 packets of taco seasoning, 1 packet of taco seasoning per pound of ground meat. Cook it down, make the taco seasoning in there. Then add chicken stock to it with Hidden Valley Ranch powder, the dressing mix. Put that in the taco soup. Get all that cooked down into like a light orange love, and then put all your beans and corn and vegetables in there. Raise your stock level, cover it, cook it in the slow cooker, taco soup. It's amazing. Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning is the #1 thing for taco soup. That's the secret right there. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Right there. Little meat mop. Little meat mop. Little meat mop. Do 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 do. Got a little meat on my cabinet. Yes, taco soup. Yeah. Okay, so get the Hidden Valley Ranch. I get as many packets of Hidden Valley Ranch, the big ones, as I get 1 for 1. So it's 1 pound of ground meat or turkey or chicken. It doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter. 1 pound of protein, 1 packet of taco seasoning, 1 packet of Hidden Valley Ranch. 1, 1, 1. You cannot go wrong. And then you just put your liquid in there for your soup stock and then let it cook down, and it's so damn good. You need to get one like this. The Magnolite, the magnesium, it's a magnesium aluminum alloy. I've got a few of these. I've got this roaster. I've got a standard pot that's half this size, and then I have my big Gumbo pot that's 3.5 gallons. I don't even know how many liters that is. I think it's like 10 liters. I think this one is going to take one more good glaze, another good deglaze after, and then we're going to do our potatoes, our corn, and our Holy Trinity. Put it all into that blue ceramic over there and slow roast that down. I'm not saying I'm just like a fat beaver, but you took it too far, sir.
I mean,
Dear Lord.
limit.
Yeah, so yeah, mine is I think it's 11. I think it's actually 12 liters, so it's like 3.25. Okay, yeah, searing a steak, fair. But I'm not searing it, I'm browning it and deglazing it. Nice. Nuclear blast and napalm records proof. That's freaking awesome. Oh, and our slow cooker. I can't tell how much time is left on it because the numbers don't work anymore. And it has off and full fucking blast. Those are the only two temperatures. So whenever I made the spaghetti that one time, or the beef stew I made that one time before, and it cooked all the way down where there was no water left in it, because I put it on low, and it doesn't know, there's no low and high. It's just I'm gonna
I'll go see if I can find one.
they're so cheap right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Need a new crock pot. That's not a bad thing. Overkill. I use my pellet smoker. I slow smoke my steaks. Get them to about 118 degrees, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I take them off, crank up my pellet smoker to 500 degrees with the grate open, and open flame sear them all four sides, and it brings the temperature up to 130, 133, which is medium rare. Wonderful steak. That's how I do mine. Gotta be honest with you, the worst part is the wait. Watching roast brown, grass grow, paint dry, it's all very, could I crank up the heat and cook them faster? Yes, but then the odds of burning the jus increase, and I don't like doing that. I like to take my time. I'm not doing anything else today. It's not like I'm working, it's Sunday. So we have cooked 2 roasts, 2 pots. We've set off the fire alarm twice. We've used 3 potatoes, 3 carrots, 4 cups of Holy Trinity, a gallon of beef stock, and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Oh yeah, you have to take time and enjoy yourself. Take your time and enjoy yourself. Oh yeah, everything in Louis. And the thing about it is this is the cook. This is the cook part, the fire part. But that over there and that over there in that slow cooker. What I put in that slow cooker over there was what we did at the beginning. We seared that roast down. We deglazed it, seared, deglazed about 7, 8, 9 times, transferred the meat over. Then we sauteed, browned, and deglazed our Holy Trinity. Then we transferred all that to the pot, brought the liquid level up with beef stock to just below the edge of the roast. Then I put it in that slow cooker over there. It's gonna sit there for 3 plus 4 hours. Literally, spoon, push down on a spoon, it will fall apart. But this top sirloin roast will take more. That's why I'm really browning the crap out of it. It's a denser piece of meat. It has less fat. So you got to take your time every time. My wife is measuring shit in the kitchen, which usually means I'm about to have to do a bunch of work. So, hey, are you measuring the thickness on that hot pot right there, that crock pot?
Figure out how many quarts it is.
How many quarts?
You know.
I got something that's thick and hot you can measure.
I need you to stay on topic.
Hmm?
Do you know how many quarts it is?
I want to say probably a 10.
And what are you good for anyway?
I'm not good for anything. What are you talking about? I think it's an 8 quart, babe. No. Here we go. Mop it up. Mop it up. Do that meat mop, everybody. Let's get that meat mop going. Get that meat mop going. Meat mop, meat mop. All right. Okay. So here we go. I want to say it's an 8 quart, maybe an 11 quart. It's more than 6 quarts. I know that, but it's probably. It looks like it could hold 2 gallons of fluid, so that should be an 8 quart, 10 quart size. Yeah. This cam. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. All right, there you go. Thank you. All right. So now that we've taken the roast out, we've moved it to here. Cook this down and get ready for this. Once this is done, this and this. Then all of this will go into here, and we're going to cook that bad boy down as well. You can easily see where my hot spot is. It's right here in the middle because of where the burner is. This and this on the sides are the cool points. Right there is that diffused hot spot. So as long as you're willing to clean up after your mess, you're fine. It's not a mess if you don't It's not a mess if you clean up after yourself. And I clean up after myself every time. Chelsea knows. I don't mess up a kitchen unless I clean it too. I'll clean a kitchen before and after I cook. All right, here we go. All right, we're getting close. We're gonna turn and burn on that. Oh, I can't not clean behind myself. This, once this cooks down a bit, we're gonna transfer this into here, similar to how we did with the slow cooker, and I will deglaze this pot and put it in here, bring this over, reduce the heat, and this is gonna slow cook, similar to how the slow cooker is cooking over here on the other side of the kitchen. So we should be able to have side by side both by the end of the stream. Oh yeah, forgot my garlic. Let's put the garlic in there. Let's put that garlic in there, yeah. It does. It adds a kind of a pungent herby smell and flavor to it, which is just outstanding all the way around. You really can't go wrong. And here we go. This is all beginning to cook down. Now, I know some people who will eat just that. Carrots, potatoes, cooked down with a dark beef jus, onions, bell peppers, celery, all sauteed down, seasoned with Cajun seasoning. I know people that will just eat that, period. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, they do. Smell-o-vision's pretty cool. I'm gonna get a little bit of that moisture out. Now, that big monster right here, this is my gumbo pot. And I will be using that on Tuesday. Okay. This is all being cooked down. That's how you know you got it all off, because it's clean. I want to bring this up to a boil. This is going in. So here we are. This is going to be insane. All right. This low heat, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Stir it, keep it going. The longer you keep it going, the more that beef is going to fall apart. A lot of the juices in here are going to get soaked up by those potatoes. You can salt it to taste, season it to taste, and that's freaking awesome. So there you go. And it's going to slowly simmer like this for as long as it needs to. Now, what does the other one look like? Well, let's take a look. This one's already beginning to bring up the temperature. You can see the edges are starting to bubble. This thing is also going to cook down for 2, 3, 4 hours. We're going to put this one over rice. This is our Cajun rice and gravy, beef roast rice and gravy. This one is going to be our Cajun style pot roast. Potatoes, carrots, the jus, the deglaze, the onions, the bell peppers, the celery, all the Cajun seasonings in this pot. When it's done cooking down, you'll be able to use, I don't know, something like this and just scoop this thing out like a family stew. Just outstanding stuff. So there you go. That's how I make rice and gravy. That's how I make roasts. I made 2 different ones at the exact same time. The methods to start are essentially the same because we're using beef. I don't care what the cut is. I've seen people take round steaks and do this. The idea is the whole thought of rare, medium, well done. Throw all that out the window. That doesn't matter. We're cooking these to the point where they're past well done, but then we're taking them to that smothered, stewed, cooked down layer. Okay? Remember your ingredients. Make sure they're fresh. Onions, bell pepper, celery, your Cajun Trinity. Your seasonings, your salts. Find a Cajun seasoning or a Creole seasoning that is to your taste and use that because it's what you're most comfortable with. Good cookware. A thin pan or a thin pot, this is not going to work. It has to be a stock pan. For a lot of you, I would say get a black iron with a ceramic glazing. If you can get one of the aluminum magnesium alloy pots like a Magnalite or Imware, those are ideal. You can use a non-stick thick cooking pot. Use that as well. Use what you know. Use to your comfort. The other thing I can tell you is follow the steps. Take your time. If you rush it, the odds of burning or bringing it someplace you can't come back from are higher. Now, I've been cooking on my own, Cajun style, 35 years. I can tell you in 35 years, I have burned hundreds of pounds of meat, either going too fast, trying to cut a corner, in a rush, not paying attention, got distracted. I stayed in this stream, and other than stepping away to cut potatoes, cut carrots, and clean my sink, I kept watching those pots. That's the key. Remember the red wine, the stout beer as an additive, something away from the beef stock. You can put spins of your own on these recipes, and you can make them your own. To make them Cajun is essentially two things. The types of seasonings and vegetables that we use to create our jus, to create our base using the deglazing method. That's really the only thing that is Cajun. Everything else is personal preference. What you add to it after you've browned your beef. I did a potato and carrot pot roast to show that you can do this without even needing rice. Or you can just keep it to where it's just meat, the jus, the Holy Trinity over rice. I've seen that a dozen times a week. The most important thing is no matter where you are around the world, the key is make it your own, but as long as you stay to the basics of how we started, what you do after is up to you. We'll have more conversations. We'll have more streams and videos about what's the difference between Creole gumbo and Cajun gumbo. What's the difference between Mobile, Alabama gumbo and Cajun gumbo and Creole gumbo? And is there one that's kind of a little bit of all? Yeah. Let's not even get started with the Zydeco culture. So we're going to get into all those things in the future, but I just wanted to spend a couple of hours, hang out with all my favorite people, all of you here on YouTube. I would do this on Twitch, but then I'd have to upload it to YouTube anyway, and this is just easy because I can just use my phone and I don't have to bring my entire computer into the kitchen. I can just do it here now. So it worked out really well. To all of you who came in and gave their advice, their ideas, their questions, thank you so much. To those of you who super chatted or super thank you very, very much for your support. We can't do this without you. To all of my friends across the pond, around the world, thank you for coming in to my little part of the world. For all of my fellow Louisiana people, whether you're from the west of me or to the east of me or even those above I-10, and I love you anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank you for showing up and appreciating what we're doing here. Tomorrow, I will be doing my night stream tomorrow night, but no stream Tuesday and no streams Wednesday. It's Christmas Eve and Christmas. Christmas Eve, I have to make approximately 15 gallons of gumbo on Tuesday for Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, I promised the entire day to Chelsea and just Chelsea. So sorry, you guys can't come for that one. It's just the way it is. Thank you guys so much for this. My Cajun balls. I made Cajun balls. They're very good. My Cajun balls are great. Love you guys so much. And I think I'm going to go now. Before I go, I always tell everybody this. Love one another. Take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. Even if you live on the North Shore. I'm talking to you, Overkill. And with that, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Twitch. I promise I'll be back. Oh, we have reactions too. Music coming back tomorrow. We're just cooking today, but tomorrow we're back to music, I promise. Love you guys. We'll see you later.